cultural differences. So, when you hear the word cultural differences, what does it mean? Cultural differences are the various beliefs, behaviors, languages, practices, and expressions considered unique to members of a specific ethnicity, race, or national origin. Some examples of cultural differences as they pertain to the workplace include employees who are younger or older than their co-workers, employees who hold higher degrees than others in the workplace, and individuals who grew up in either metropolitan areas or small towns. It is said that employees often have more similarities than they do differences, but those differences can sometimes outweigh the similarities. While these various differences can create a more vibrant office, they can also lead to more than a few problems resulting from culture clash. After we know the definition of cultural differences, let's now proceed to the types of cultural differences in the workplace. The concept of culture combines a range of elements from people's upbringing, history, and community. This means that there are many characteristics that can cause cultural differences in the workplace. A diverse workplace has people of different ages, experience levels, religions, and economic backgrounds. Some of the key cultural aspects that impact employee behavior at work are: Number 1. Generational. People's outlook and values tend to vary based on their generation. Someone's generation can have an impact on their ideas about professionalism, collaboration, communication, leadership, work ethic, and workplace culture. Baby boomers tend to be loyal to an employer and expect to have a long-term career at a single workplace, believing that success comes from making sacrifices and working through the leadership structure. Millennials highly value work-life balance and seek consistent opportunities for growth, even if that means moving to another company, project, or position. Number 2. Ethnic. Ethnic, racial, and national backgrounds have a significant impact on workplace norms. Some cultures are more direct about communication, while others have indirect habits in the workplace. Similarly, certain countries expect employees to always defer to leaders and wait to be given opportunities, while others require employees to take initiative and hustle to be recognized. Number 3. Religious. Religious affiliation has a strong impact on people's values, which can affect their workplace behavior and priorities. Religion can impact what people perceive as ethical behavior, influencing their decision-making in the workplace. People have the right to express their religion, so it is essential for businesses to have policies in place that are respectful to people's individual beliefs while also upholding fair standards of conduct for clients and customers. Number 4. Educational. Education level can be a part of someone's background that affects how they fit into a workplace environment. People with different educational experiences have different types of cultural capital that they use to solve problems and approach situations in the workplace. Because many employers hire for position based on education or equivalent work experience. This can result in people with drastically different education levels working on the same projects and implementing different methodologies based on their own educational background. Next, let's proceed to the examples of cultural differences in the workplace. Workplace diversity trainers often mention that there are more similarities among employees than there are differences. However, despite the many common attributes employees share, there still exist cultural differences. Culture is defined as a set of values, practices, traditions, or beliefs a group shares, whether due to age, race or ethnicity, religion, or gender. Other factors that contribute to workplace diversity and cultural differences in the workplace are difference attributable to work styles, education, or disability. First, nothing generational impact. There are cultural differences attributable to employees' generations. A diverse workplace includes employees considered traditionalist, baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, and millennials. Each generation has distinct characteristics. For example, employees considered baby boomers tend to link their personal identity to their profession or the kind of work they do. Baby boomers are also characterized as being committed yet unafraid of changing employers when there's an opportunity for career growth and advancement. Employees considered belonging to Generation Y, on the other hand, also value professional development, but they are tech-savvy, accustomed to diversity, and value flexibility in working conditions. Next is being aware of educational differences. Differences exist between employees who equate academic credential with success and employees who vocational and on-the-job training enable their career progression. The cultural differences between two groups may be a source of conflict in some workplace issues when there's disagreement about theory versus practice in achieving organizational goals. For instance, an employee who believes that a college degree prepared him for managing the processes and techniques of employees in the skilled trades may not be as effective as he thinks when compared to employees with years of practical knowledge and experience. Next is impact of one's personal background. Where an employee lives or has lived can contribute to cultural differences in the workplace. Many people would agree that there is a distinct difference between the employee from a small town and the employee from a large metropolis. New York, for example, is known for its fast pace and the hectic speed of business transactions. Conversely, an employee from a small, southern town may not approach her job duties with the same haste as someone who is employed by the same company from a large city where there's a sense of urgency attached to every job task. Next is ethnicity. Ethnicity or national origin are often examples of cultural differences in the workplace, particularly where communication, language barriers, or the manner in which business is conducted are obviously different. Affinity groups have gained popularity in large organizations or professional associations such as the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in-house group, whose members are underrepresented ethnicities such as the Chinese Culture Network at IRI. The pharmaceutical conglomerate organized affinity groups to bridge cultural differences and establish productive working relationships within the workplace and throughout its global locations. Next, let's proceed to the example of how cultural differences impact the workplace. Each cause of cultural differences in the workplace can manifest in several ways depending on the environment and the unique backgrounds of your term's members. Some of the most common examples of cultural differences in the workplace are dress code. Culture and generation often impact how people dress. For example, many Sikh men wear a turban as part of their religious commitment. Dress code restrictions on headwear can infringe on their right to religious expression in most circumstances. Another instance of cultural differences in dress code is younger generations who value personal expression, dressing more casually at work than older generation who value conformity and traditional professional dress. Next is feedback. Different cultures have their own expectations about giving and receiving feedback in the workplace. For example, in China, it is uncommon to criticize workplace superiors in any way. Someone who moved from China to the US may be less vocal in group conversations because they expect to be called on by a manager before they share their ideas. Next is communication. People from different backgrounds communicate differently depending on how they were raised. Teamwork. Employee ideas about teamwork and individualism can also show up in the workplace. Some people were raised to be independent and problem solve on their own, while others rely on teamwork and community to be successful. For example, Generation X and Generation Z are both characterized by being independent, while millennials and baby boomers are more team-oriented. Understanding the results of cultural differences is an important part of managing a diverse team. Employees' cultural backgrounds can give employers insight into the reasoning behind their habits and behaviors into the workplace. Once you have knowledge of the various ways culture can impact how people act at work, you can mediate conflicts and provide relevant motivations to each employee. Help people from underrepresented groups feel respected by being supportive of their culture and educating others about how to behave respectfully at work and work together efficiently. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something.